When you look at the Manchester United first team, there is very clearly one thing lacking. I'm not talking about quality, I'm talking about left-footed players, particularly in the middle of the pitch, in central midfield and also in the inside forward position. There are no left-footers currently available for Ruben Amorim. However, if he was willing to and bold enough to dip into the academy, there might be one for him there. Jack Fletcher, really good young central midfielder, left-footed, who maybe could do a job in this first team. So when I look at Jack Fletcher personally, the thing that I really see is a left-sided central midfielder in a 4-3-3 formation. I think realistically that will be the best position in his career. There is an argument to make that he could play as a sort of attacking midfielder or a 10 in this position, as the number on his shirt reflects. But I do see him as a player who actually operates better, a little bit deeper. And I think some of the reason for that is because he is one of these midfielders who, when you watch him, I don't know how to describe it, apart from having an arrogance about the way that he plays. And I don't mean that in a critical way, I think it's absolutely a good thing. There's a confidence, there's a swagger. Those of you that watch a lot of youth football will know what I'm talking about. When Fletcher is on the pitch, you can tell it's the way he sort of strolls into these different positions and he goes, mate, give me the ball. And his teammate will give him the ball. And a lot of the time, Fletcher's going to do something fairly simple with it, just kind of keep it ticking over. But he does that a lot. He'll sort of roam into different positions and go, you mate, give me the ball. He wants the ball pretty much everywhere on the pitch. And I think in terms of for United, that's something good. We have a lot of players which perhaps technically shy away from the ball at times. Fletcher is the complete opposite of that. He wants the ball. Most of the time, when he picks the ball up, it is going to be a sort of fairly simple game. You know, initially, yes, he will get his head up and look for passes when he can, but initially we are looking at a lot of sort of safe left-foot passes, but I actually think that's quite useful, because what it allows you to do is use both sides of the pitch. So yes, build possession down this side, but then Fletcher gives you that point where you can go into him, and his left-footed angle is going to give you the easy pass, the quick pass out to the left-hand side of the attack. And this is probably something that United could do within the first team, and we saw it in full effect against Arsenal last week in the FA Youth Cup. You can see him here. This is why I say he's not a true 10, because of how deep he's dropping. He almost doesn't even need to be here, but he drops into this position and he goes, go on mate, give me the ball. Give me the ball. And like I said, most of the time people do, because he's good at finding space. He is normally an option on the ball. 9 times out of 10, he is then going to take the first touch, getting the ball onto his left foot, because that is definitely his stronger foot. And a lot of the time, it's a sort of safe action. He does get his head up, he will have a look, he will kind of look for options further forward, but if they're not there, he's happy just to play a nice safe sideways pass to the left-hand side to sort of keep the play moving, I would guess. But this can be useful tactically. In a situation like this, United are heavily overloaded on the right-hand side, but Arsenal also are as well. Arsenal have a lot of defenders over in this position. It's all a little bit congested, a little bit stodgy, it's quite difficult to play through. What Fletcher gives you, and particularly his left foot gives you, is the ability to get the ball, work it onto your left foot pretty quickly, and then kind of sweep it out to the other side. This is really simple play, but in terms of a team trying to go, you know, side to side, it's really useful, because now United can get down this side of the pitch, and actually we're now 2 versus 1. A right footer perhaps wouldn't have played the pass quite as quick, or it would have been behind the receiver. Fletcher gives you that ability to play ahead of the man into space and move the ball quickly. And I like that desire to drop deep. Again, dropping outside of the Arsenal structure. He doesn't want to go in between the lines and receive all the time, although he can do that as well. He prefers to sort of move out of the shape, get this space, and again, like I said, just keep that ball moving. And again, now we're into a 1 versus 1. Now, I would argue what we've discussed so far could be applied to actually pretty much any left-footed central midfielder. We haven't really focused on Fletcher specifically. All we've really spoken about is, yes, the left-footed angle that it gives you down the left side of the pitch, and the arrogance and the confidence on the ball, which I really like. If we're talking about Fletcher more specifically, though, a technical range and ability to help the team be progressive, yes, he likes some safe passes, but this guy does have vision as well. He is someone who will look to move the ball forward. And whilst his initial action can be quite safe, I actually think he's quite an incisive passer. I think he's a really useful attacking weapon, particularly down his left-hand side. And again, that left foot does come in handy for this. What we're talking about is a sort of disguise in the way that he plays. Because teams know that he's left-footed and likes to play that ball there, teams almost set up defensively to deal with that. So the right back here will sort of shape his body ready to deal with that. What Fletcher then has the ability to do is actually play a clipped ball more into this channel. So that might be for a striker, that might be for a midfielder creating the overload in this position, or a fullback flying from deep, or the winger going inside. It doesn't really matter who it is. The point is, Fletcher can be expressive. So initially we were talking about safe passes, but he is genuinely someone who can progress the ball for you and create for you. You can see it here, again on the left side, sort of outside of the structure. The pass goes backwards, it's a really bad pass. And I think straight away what you see from Fletcher here, again, is that wanting of the ball. He wants to go get the ball. He doesn't really need to be here. He doesn't have to drop deep into this position. He could stay a little bit higher. But he wants to go and get the ball off players because he wants to make an impact. He has that sort of I am him factor about him. How he wants to go pick the ball up and be like, all right, guys, don't worry. I'll do it. I'll deal with this. And you can see he's doing that. He's picking the ball up in these deeper positions here. And this is what Arsenal are anticipating. This pass to the left-hand side to Harry Amas, because this is what he's been doing so far in the game. What Fletcher does, though, is he has that ability to switch it up. And this little clipped ball is beautiful. And, you know, if we're talking about Fletcher more specifically, the weight of pass is really good. Some players will see this pass, but not be able to play it. Fletcher doesn't have that problem. He's got a really good eye for a pass, but the ability to execute as well. And it's into a great area, and it allows the forward to run onto it. We've also got another situation here. Again, wide on the left-hand side. You sort of think he's just going to roll the ball down the line because that's what he's done previously. But actually, if you look at him, his head is up. He is looking for something more progressive. And eventually, that movement comes from the striker. And again, the ball here is really good. It's a really impressive ball into a great area. And this is something that, if we're talking about the Manchester United first team, I don't think anyone in the current first team can do this on their left foot. Genuinely, I don't think anyone can do it. Bruno Fernandes would maybe be the one, but even then, on the left foot, I would question it. This is something different from Jack Fletcher. It gives you creativity down the left-hand side. It's a different method of ball progression. It's a different way of getting into these advanced positions, which is why I think he could be useful. Now, if we continue talking about the passing range for a second, because I think that's what Fletcher is all about, his passing game, there's another pass of his that I really like. It's again going to focus down the left side of the pitch and trying to create overloads and attack teams in this area. But it's, again, playing with disguise, but it's an incisive pass through the lines on the floor. So it's easier control for your teammate, right? A ball in the air can be quite difficult. When it's on the floor, into your path, it's much easier to control. Fletcher, I'm not going to say mastered it because he's way too young, but he's really comfortable, really confident playing a straight ball through here. And again, the left foot gives him that. A right-footed pass here changes the angle a little bit because it curves that way, the right-footed pass. The left-footed pass almost curves out initially, but then comes back into the box. And that's a good thing because it's naturally curving back towards the goal, or it can be straight. But he loves this pass between the fullback and the centre-back. He loves to find that little channel of space. We saw a glimpse of it in the FA Youth Cup. Initially, it's all about footwork in the middle. He just lifts this ball over the defender brilliantly. I had to include it. It's really good work. Lifts the ball over him, and then, as always, wants to drift towards the left, wants to move into these positions. Then has the intelligence, and again, this is what I'm talking about with a confidence, an arrogance, a swagger, a glide to the way that he plays. He just stops. He kind of points, tells people where to go a little bit, and then he decides in his own time he's going to increase the tempo again. He takes a step forward. And it's this channel of space that we're looking to attack here, between the fullback and the centre-back. And like I said, Fletcher has a really good ability to find that pass. Again, a pass which is probably currently lacking in the Manchester United first team. And again, it gets you into a good position. What I also like, though, is that whilst we've spoken so much about the left side so far, he can play on the right as well. And, of course, it's a slightly different game from this position. Rather than funneling the ball down the line, it's more about coming back inside the pitch into these positions, perhaps moving the ball to this side in a different way. It's perhaps slightly safer sometimes with the sideways passing rather than the incisive passing, but he's still got a big threat. He is still someone who, keep using the word, it's swagger. He wants the ball. He's brilliant on the carry. He probably needs to develop a little bit of power. Hopefully, physically, you know, work in the gym, growing into his frame. He can develop that over the next few years. But he's a nice ball carrier. He's deceptive with the way that he plays. There's an elegance about the way that he takes the ball and drifts past people in the middle of the pitch. Again, something that United lack. And once he's come inside, it's that wanting to play on the left foot. A high volume, accurate, left-footed passer is not something that Manchester United have had since Nemanja Matic, perhaps. And even him, he wasn't in his prime. Jack Fletcher could bring something really different to United. It's a profile that is completely lacking in this squad. And I mean, the other thing, we've spoken about his left foot so much, then he does this on his right foot. Just unbelievable. Really, really good young player, and I think there's a lot to like here. Physically, like I said, he needs a little bit of work. If he was to play, you know, deep in midfield, for example, I would have concerns about his physicality, his defensive understanding, if he was, you know, playing in a 4-4-2. But I think in the United 3-4-3, could he perhaps play as one of the central midfielders in a double pivot? I think he could. And on the left side, he would bring us an extra balance. There's also an argument to say that he could play as one of the inside forwards, perhaps not in the long term, but maybe in the short term it gives him a way to break into the team with less defensive responsibility. I'm not too sure. I think there's a really good young midfielder there, though. I think he's a really good player, and I think it's a player that United need to manage because he's one of my favourite players in the academy at the moment, and, you know, the academy is stacked, so to say that is a compliment. Really good player. I like him a lot. I think he brings something different to United. And with the pressure off now in the Premier League till the end of the season, I'd love to see him given a chance at some point. I'm not talking about starting every week and playing 90 minutes, but give him 20 or 30 minute cameos here and there, just in a couple of games, perhaps at Old Trafford, you know, in the safety of the home ground. I like the idea of giving him a chance because I think he's a really good player. His development over the next 18 months to 2 years, it's going to be really interesting. I like him a lot. I recommend you guys start watching him because he's a really good player there, and I think United might just have someone who can become a really useful squad player. But those are just my thoughts on the young man. I like him a lot. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. How much of Jack Fletcher have you watched? What do you think of his profile? How do you think he would fit into the 3-4-3 formation? And how good can he be? What is the ceiling? What is the level he can get to? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But apart from that, we're finished for today. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.